Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, my name is Nur Fatia binti Momari. Today I would like to present chapter 4, collective bargaining. So what is collective bargaining? So the simple terms for you to understand what is collective bargaining is the term collective bargaining refers to the negotiations of employment terms between an employer and a group of workers. Employees are normally represented by a labor union during collective bargaining. The terms negotiated during collective bargaining can include working conditions, salaries, compensations, working hours, and benefits. The goal is to come up with a collective bargaining agreement through a written contract. According to the International Labour Organization, collective bargaining is a fundamental right for all employees.
So in subtopic 4.2, the importance of collective bargaining, it has 6 importance. So I will present the first one. The first one is improvement in the condition of workers. There is 2 points in this in these topics. So the first one is benefits of the workers, higher wage, liberal allowance, fringe benefits, economic security, shorter hours of work, better terms, condition and employment, and the last one is physical working conditions. The next one is evidence from advanced countries such as United States, Great Britain, France, and other European countries shows that through collective bargaining, the workers been able to get such economic benefits. Okay, let's go to the next point. Check on autocracy in industry. Effective checks on employers. The collective bargaining has put effective check on employers' autocracy in regard to the laying down of term and condition of employment, and initially the employer's freedom of action was curtailed only in several areas such as wage, hours of work, and working condition. The third point is collective bargaining has answered a vast areas of prerogative traditionally enjoyed by the employers. And the last one is collective bargaining has led to the promotion of industrial democracy. Okay, so the third point in importance of collective bargaining is promotion of lasting industrial peace. The employers and workers can understand each other better. In collective bargaining, it has enabled the parties to settle their difference or disputes based on facts and realities of the situation. And collective agreements contain a set of rules for compliance by both the parties as long as the collective agreements remain in operations. The veil of uncertainty about rights does not exist. Many collective agreements has also provide for grievance procedure for redressing the grievance resulting from non-compliance of the clauses of the agreement. This also contributes toward establishment of industrial peace. The next point is conducive to managerial efficiency. Improving managerial efficiency, collective bargaining has provided an opportunity to the management to take the trade union in confidence and seek its cooperation in talking the problem. Collective bargaining also taking place in a free and frank atmosphere also leads to revelations of deficiency in managerial policies and practice. This helps the management modify and improve its workings. And to counteract the union pressure in collective bargaining, it is not always the trade union which is the winners. The outcome of bargaining may be favorable to the management too. Operation of a collective agreement is for stipulated period, and the provision of grievance procedure or other measure to solve problem and provide opportunity to the management. The next important is development of industrial rules. Establishment of rules or standards by both parties, where collective agreements are legally enforceable document as in the United States. The importance of these rules become more obvious. This rule may relate to numerous subjects concerning the terms and conditions of employment, such as wage, allowance, personnel matters, working conditions, economic security and welfare amenities, and others. And collective bargaining itself has becoming the rules maker. So the confusion relating to interpretation and application of rules is generally sought to be solved by grievance procedure. And the last one is there are also instances where norms and standards laid down in collective agreements conclude at higher levels have been adopted by government and embodied in labor laws. So the last one is significant for society and economy, with increasing becoming a pervading phenomenon. The collective bargaining has become a pervading phenomenon impinging upon many facets of social and economic life. In countries where collective bargaining is in a developed stage, it has been exercising a potent influence on the government policies and programs, social institutions, standard of living, distribution of national income, and economic of social development. Collective bargaining has manifestation in politics, legislation, court legislations, government, administrations, religion, education, and propaganda. So, author D. Butler has viewed collective bargaining as a process of social change, and there have been collective agreements on broader economic and social issues such as productivity, provision of social security, reservation in jobs, problem of particular industries, technology change, workers' education, and the last one is improvement in environment. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Hazmi bin Rosli and my metric number is I19204086, and I will explain a little bit about theory of collective bargaining. So, what is theory of collective bargaining? In this context of the importance of collective bargaining and its function, it is relevant to refer to the Chamberlain, who has made a mention of three theories of collective bargaining, that is, marketing theory, governmental theory, and managerial theory. So the first theory of collective bargaining is the marketing theory. The marketing theory views collective bargaining as a means of contracting the sale of labor. The collective agreement arrived at during the process contained a statement of the term on which employees collectively are willing to work. According to this approach, collective bargaining may be viewed as the process which determined under the term labor which continue to be supplied to a company by its existing employees and by those newly hired as well. The second theory of collective bargaining is the governmental theory. The governmental theory of collective bargaining considers collective agreement as a constitution on the basis of which a sort of industrial government is established in enterprise, company, and industrial. The industrial constitution is established by joint conference of the union and management representative, The result of this conference is contracting of an agreement, which written or oral understanding. The principal function of the Constitution is to establish organs of the government. And the last theory of collective bargaining is the managerial theory. The managerial theory of collective bargaining view collective bargaining as a method of management. In every institution or organization, some form of management is necessary.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nor Ira Nazira binti Mat Fazuri. So today I will present about units and level of collective bargaining. So first of all, we need to know what is bargaining levels. Bargaining level is the various level or hierarchies at which collective bargaining is done to resolve the dispute between the employer and trades unions. The different bargaining levels can be planned or establishment levels, local levels, region or area levels, industry level, and national level bargaining. There are 5 of levels and unit collective bargaining. For the first one is planned or establishment levels, local levels, regions, area levels, industry level, and the last one is national levels. So we go through one by one. For the first one is planned or establishment levels. For this level, this type of bargaining take place between an employer and a union. If there are multiple unions, the bargaining can take place between an employer and multiple unions. The basis of bargaining are the parameters set by particular plans or company. Second is local level. Bargaining between one employers or a group of employers or one or more employers association on the one side and one or more unions established at the plants, locality, regions, industry, nation levels or a group of workers on the others. Next is regions or areas levels. Bargaining between one or more employers, companies or one or more employers association at the region, industry or nation level on the one side and one more union established at the plants, regions, area or plant levels on the others. The next one is industry levels. At this level, the bargaining generally take place in a tripartite form involving the unions, employer and government officers. The parameters for this kind of bargaining varies from industry to industry. For example, bargaining take place in different form in jute or textile industry than steel industry. And the last one is national levels. This is a centralized bargaining unit. National levels bargaining is common in public sector where wages, compensation and various other employer benefits schemes are decided at national levels. If we compare internationally, Norway is ranked highly in collective bargaining in national level bargaining.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name is Nur Aina binti Muhammad Amran. I will continue about factors influencing bargaining units and level. Okay, the first one factors is about structure of trade union organization. Okay, one of the notable factors influencing the units and level of collective bargaining has been the structure of trade union organization. Okay, where industrial unions at the plants level are predominant, a single union may bargain for all the workers in the plant. Okay, in such cases, the level of bargaining in plan, and the unit is confined to the representative of the employer and workers in the plan. Okay, when such unions are formed at the industry level, bargaining may become more frequent and the unit of bargaining become wider. Okay, on the other hand, where there is of craft unions at the plant or industry levels, the number of bargaining units either of the plants or industry level is likely to be more. Okay, in many cases, collective agreement contracted at the industry level are supplemented by agreements at the plant level. In such cases, both of level and units of bargaining become diversified. Okay, some trade unions are also formed at the regional level. Okay, here the level of bargaining is region, as the units will consist of representatives of the parties. Okay, in many countries, parallel units of workers operate in the plants, industry or regional level, as in the cases in India. In such situation, a large number of bargaining units may be formed for the purpose of collective bargaining.
The content of industrial relations laws and governmental policies have a significant impact on both the levels and units of collective bargaining. These laws govern the selection of a bargaining agent, the recognition of representative unions, the disposition of representation cases, the determination of bargaining units, the registration of collective agreements, unfair labor practices, and other procedural aspects of collective bargaining in many countries. In the United States, the Labor Management Relations Act of 1947, better known as the Taft-Hartley Act, which introduced compulsory collective bargaining, gave the National Labor Relations Board, which is NLRB, broad authority over determining the bargaining unit, certifying negotiating agents, and handling representation complaints. Do you know? Taft-Hartley Act is a United States federal law that restricts the activities and power of labor unions. It was approved by the 80th United States Congress over President Harry S. Truman's veto and became law on June 23, 1947. Taft-Hartley was introduced in the aftermath of major strike wave in 1945 and 1946. The Taft-Hartley Act revised the National Labor Relations Act of 1935, forbidding unions from engaging in a number of unfair labor practices. Jurisdictional strikes, wildcat strikes, solidarity or political strikes, secondary boycotts, secondary and mass picketing, closed shop, and monetary contributions by unions to federal political campaigns are among practices forbidden by the Taft-Hartley Act. In the United Kingdom, the Trade Union and Labour Relations Act 1992 and the Employment Relations Acts comprehensively govern procedural parts of collective bargaining. The Trade Union and Labour Relations Act of 1992 is a UK Act of Parliament which regulates United Kingdom labour law. The Act applies in full in England and Wales and in Scotland and partially in Northern Ireland. The Trade Union and Labour Relations Act of 1992 addresses a wide range of issues concerning trade unions, including enlistment, certification as an independent trade union, status and property of trade unions, trade union administration, election for specified positions, rights of trade unions members, application of funds for political purposes, amalgamations and name changes, assistance for legal proceedings and special provisions relating to employers' associations. The Industrial Disputes Act of 1947 in India provides for the appointment of conciliation officers and adjudication authorities, which is labour courts and tribunals by both the federal and state governments, and national tribunals by the central government. It is for the resolution of industrial disputes. A 1982 modification to the Act makes it an unfair labour practice for an employer to refuse to deal collectively with the recognised unions and for a recognised union to refuse to bargain collectively with the employer. Nevertheless, there is no legal requirement for employers to acknowledge unions, which is still done on a voluntary basis within the country's industrial relation framework. As conciliation and adjudication authorities are scattered around the country, so are negotiating levels and units with a greater concentration at the plant level. The Indian Labour Conference's Code of Discipline, adopted in 1958, established conditions for the recognition of unions for the purposes of collective bargaining. The voluntary code, which is followed by employers and trade unions, also support collective agreements at the plant and region-industry levels. However, in the lack of legislation mandating union recognition, the law has proven ineffective in this area. Do you know? The Industrial Disputes Act 1947 extended to the whole of India and regulated Indian labour law so far as that concerns trade unions as well as individual workmen employed in any industry within the territory of Indian mainland. The Act was enacted on 11 March 1947 and it came into force on 1st April 1947. The objective of the Industrial Disputes Act is to secure industrial peace and harmony by providing mechanism and procedure for the investigation and settlement of industrial disputes by conciliation, arbitration, and adjudication, which is provided under the statute. The main and ultimate objective of this act is maintenance of peaceful work culture in the industry in India, which is clearly provided under the statement of objects and reasons of the statute. Patterns set by reputable employers, the extent of trade union rivalry, the nature of trade union leadership, proximity influence, the nature and extent of benefits available under labour laws and industrial awards, and the type of industry or business are all factors that influence the pattern of bargaining units and levels. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.